name is Kenneth Bird. My company is Crystal A Technology Screens. I'd like to thank my Lord and Savior for this wonderful, wonderful, beautiful, brand new day. We got so much to do today, it's not even funny. I mean, we got a lot to do today. So, we have the Phoenix Invisible technology, which was developed yesterday. We have tests and demonstrations to doing that. We have the building of the frame support system that I need to build out there on the deck that is going to hold this screen outside for demonstrations. We have the new, we call it right now, we're calling it contrast shifting technology. This is the blue screen we showed you yesterday that pulled the contrast levels. So we're going to be painting that one on a much larger screen over there in the living room. So we got those three projects, and I might have time in the day to hang the acoustic screen in the gamer room and start working on some plans in there. So let me grab me a fresh pair of socks or some socks, put this on the mount, get this thing painted in so we can have it on a larger scale, because I need to see it on a much, much larger surface than what I had last night. If you got a chance to come in last night, I'm up pretty late at night. The minute a product is designed, we post it right there on the spot, so we got it time stamped on when the product came out. So we have two different forms of new technology. Also, too, we have some other things we're going to be talking about, some technology we're working on too. A spray-on application. It's for those of you that are professionals at a spray cannon, and you require a more high quality, let's say not high quality, a more advanced technology. We do have a higher version of any form of screen paint we develop, but we had to bring it down to turn it into a paint form to make it easier to add something to thicken it up. So this is a very high grade version of it. It's going to be a spray on only. There's only going to be two of those. Now they're going to be like $100 more than the previous ones, but we spray some plexiglass with it and show you that one. So like I said, we have a lot going on right now. We haven't even got into this yet, and this is the invisible technology we're showing off on Facebook. We got a lot of business inquiries today over this. We're going to be painting a much more bigger surface because I have one here. I just have to build a frame for it. That's the product that's using, we're going to call it contrast shifting technology. That's embedded in that coating right there. This right here is a slate Phoenix that's going upstairs. I'm painting the giant screen today. I just got my frog tape ordered. I had to rush in overnight so we can get all this done, because I'm painting my screens in the process and taking care of orders at the same time. So this one's going to have some requirements attached to it. It's not going to be an outdoor product. There are going to be some things that we're going to require, as in projectors wise and stuff like that, when using that particular shifting technology. Now, if all goes well with this new technology they're blessed to have, maybe we can incorporate it into a silver screen, or maybe into the highest I wouldn't go with gray. Not a big fan of gray screens. I would with a high grade silver, yeah, but that's as far as I would go. So this is for this project here. Today, I'm gonna put that right there. That's a gallon. I don't need a gallon, but I always make more just in case if I have to do some demonstrations along the way. Sunday, we'll buy the lumber to finish this project right here, to build this giant screen. I may curve this one a little bit, just a little bit, you know, for its submerged look, because I am getting into a form of bending software. And I'm thinking about making this screen a curve, a slight curve, like from the closet, because I don't use the closet, and bring it out, because we've got a nice little area here to put a nice little curve in there, put a screen there. So I'm working on the blueprints for that. I might change that a little bit more. And here, the LED lights come today, so we'll be painting the ceiling today. That'll be painted with Nova 17 black, because that stuff is fantastic for doing 3D effects on the ceiling. So we're gonna paint the ceiling black today in here. We're gonna run LED lights in this area right here for the ceiling. I'm gonna order one projector in here to start getting that ready. And the gaming room, if you notice that big wooden piece at the top is gone. I'm up early in the morning, people, like a lot of you know, so I was up 3 o'clock in the morning. Remove that. All the holes in there have to be putty sanded down. Put this back to the original. Got to put a display here at the bottom that lights up. I want to display at the bottom that says either game over, or please start, or coin insert, something like that at the bottom right there. So we got to dress this area up in here. And I got to order ultra short throws. Probably about 4 or 5 ultra short throws I'm going to need. And the good thing about it is, like I said, I don't have to spend a lot of money, because if this was any other product, you know, I would have to spend about a couple of $1,000s just for an ultra short throw to get it to show up on the screen. But because the technology we have here activates on just about any form of name brand projector, I got to buy those projectors right there. So that projector right there is going to cost me, I found a merchant on eBay who sent them for 150 bucks. So I need 5 of them. That's it, 150 bucks a piece. We're going to be painting the kitchen screen in 2. So I'm going to put I need a certain model. I told you a certain model, one of these projectors has something called a position shift bar on it, which means that when you set your projector down, automatically it's going to hit the ceiling a little bit. So what some people do is they put, if you see me sometimes with some, I'll show you a trick I like to do. If you see me sometimes with, and I got to build wedges for this. I got to customize my own wedges instead of putting my games behind here. But you put a little wedge behind the back of it like this. What it does, it causes the image to push down, right? So it brings your image down, and then you keystone it back in, and you can adjust it from the front on bringing it up just a little bit to have it fit right in place. That's a little trick I learned. So I need to get me a piece of wood and cut it on a wedge so it's more professional and slide that in there instead of having my tapes in there. And it's the same way my projector is set up in here with that little wedge in there. But that positioning comes in handy because even sometimes with the wedge, you still have too much hitting the ceiling, and with that position, it pulls it right down, boom, right in the spot. And the NEC projectors, there's a particular model that has that positioning. That's what I'm using here. That's why it's fitting the screen so well. So I need to get 5 of those. 5 of those in here because I need one for the kitchen. Kitchen has to be painted. See those LED lights traced out? There's a screen that used to be there. So got it all sanded down. Well, not sanded down. We got it putty, got it ready to be sanded down real nice. That has to be absolutely flat because it's an ultra short throw. It's going to sit there. An ultra short has to lay against a flat surface or you get a rip on the screen. Now outside, we got another project we're working on. So I told you that I want to hang gamer screen. I want to stand it up. I want it on a whole bracket system, how it hangs up. So we can do our gaming outside. Getting ready for that. That's what that wood over there is for. And then this project right here, whew, that's going to be something on top. That's going to be interesting. So we're going to take all this down. That is going to be a bookcase system that's going to have speakers wired into it. We're going to get those Calypso, I think that's what they're called, the ones with them gold combs. We're going to get those installed in for that. Oh, that's going to be a monster in there over there. That's going to be a monster when we get done with that. So trust me, you know, you learn a lot. We're going to learn a lot together. A whole lot of things we got to work on. So I'm going to get the extenders too. I'm buying the Wi-Fi extenders. So I'm going to buy 4 of them, put them downstairs so we can extend our Wi-Fi signal so we can make it, we can keep doing, I like doing the live streams, I do. Now anytime I do the pre-records, unless I want you to see the clarity of the technology, how beautiful it looks, I do that, but I'm going to get some extenders. So let's get this thing painted in. So we get the day started. That's the first thing we got to get done. We need to paint this on a much, much larger scale. We had it on a 50 inch. We have to have it on a much larger inch. And now you see why when I tell you people that I don't have time for nonsense. And keep in mind, not only that, whew, I still got customers to take care of. And I still got contracts coming in for my company. So every time we develop something new, one of the other companies want a contract under it. So we got a lot to do, a lot to do. All right, so first thing I got to do is we got the guy who did the intro for us for his company tie with us. We're going to have that on the website. So we're going to take down some videos, put that up. You're going to see the intro when you come to the website. This is the company guy who has a contract. We have a contract. They have a contract through us. They have a distributorship contract. And I got to get ready to read through the other contract and sign through it. Those are the contracts over there. I haven't had time to read those contracts. So let's get this started because I got a lot to do. So first things first, let's get a stand for this. Let's get that painted. Get that in here. Hang it up. Get some demonstrations off of it real quick. And then after that, I got to go off camera, build the stand, and hang the other screen outside. Paint that, get that ready. That's me for demonstrations outside too. Whew, man. Okay, Ken. Let's get the head together now. Got things to do. Our brain sometimes shuts down a little bit like, what the frick are we doing? So we got this one is already painted. That's done. That right there is a Supreme. So we got Supreme. No, sorry, my bad. We have Phoenix 19. Get together. And Phoenix 19, that's done. So we're doing these screens as we go along, painting all the screens in the house as we don't, and we're building some of them. Come on, Stan. Stan doesn't want to work today. Does not Stan want to work? There we go. Stan is not working. I'm gonna call my Stan Stanley. Stanley to Stan. Stanley to Stan. All right, so let's get positioned here. So yeah, I thought about it. We're going to do a professional kit. We're going to do two of them. One's going to be a professional black. This is a spray-on application. The other one's going to be, maybe I might do a professional silver with that one. That might be the high-grade silver we might do. Now, like I said, even though, and I told you before, that I do believe, and I do honestly believe, that darker technology is where it's at. And as you can see by what we're working with right now, this new technology, I'm very excited about it. The fact that it is a very light color, but it can transform a contrast level. You have to have contrast. You have to have that. Without contrast, screens don't display correctly, colors don't come up correctly. It's a hot mess. So that's why I'm against these light gray screen paints, because they don't do what they're supposed to do. Gray screen paints, that was my profession at that particular time, on just about every level you could possibly. I tell you, you don't believe me? Go back and check my old company under Digital One Crystal Screen Paint. You'll see me in the video painting the exact same gray screen paint products that are trying to be displayed today. It's an old technology. It's been around forever. And the thing about it is, before I even had it, it was called YouTube Paint. So you look that up too, and you'll find that it's YouTube Paint. So that's right around the time they were bringing out those Galaxy G, I think they were called G something, 737s and 747 projectors from overseas. You know, they were a big thing over here. They were cheap. They were like $150, $230 for these projectors, and a lot of people were jumping on them and dropping their PS2s on them. So PS2 or PS3s on. I thought PS3s were dropping at that time. But yeah, so you know, it's old. You know, it has its limitations. That's the problem. It works. Don't get me wrong. It does work. I'm not saying it doesn't work. It does work, but it has its limitation to the technology we have today. You know, the problem is when it comes to projection screens is the fact that people don't really understand. You got to. It goes deeper than that. You got to understand the history behind projection. I'm a big history buff. I love watching about silent movies and how the first movies got started. When people first started developing, what do you call it? Ratio sizes. You know what I mean? It's like 1.1, and you have 4.3 and stuff like that. You know, I love that kind of stuff. So, you know, you got to go back to the past before you can understand how the future is going to roll out. You have to know the past. White screens have literally been around since the silent era of movies. You know how old that is, the silent era of movies? You know, so, you know, it's a lot of things people have to understand. And at that particular time, I mean, you know, you had a lot of projectors out there. Like, we have older projectors from that era that are considered to be crap now, but they look amazing on our technology. And it goes to show you that even at that particular time, that there were really nothing wrong with these projectors. I mean, they didn't have this high-tech technology we have now, but at that particular time, there was nothing. The fact they had to be displayed on a white surface, and the fact that the colors were off, and they couldn't pick up contrast, they couldn't pick up color, clearly shows that the technology behind the projectors was there. It's that the technology for the screens wasn't. And without the screens being there, the projectors are no good. They really can't display what they're supposed to display. That's why the screen plays the biggest part in your movie theater setup. And without that proper screen, you are not getting what you think you're getting from your projector. And I learned that when I got a piece of black diamond sample sheet. That's what changed my mind. When I saw that, I saw the difference between the two. Yep. So you have to understand the whole thing. And that's the problem with the other fellow. He doesn't have a grasp of understanding of what technology truly is. You know, he doesn't get it. It's like a play. Everything is like a play. Everybody in that play has a part that makes that musical come to life. And he's missing a lot of his characters. He doesn't understand. Now, the sad thing about it is because, you know, you got to be careful about putting down something. I worked with great technology for a long time. I know its limitations. Like I said, it does work, but it has its limitations, you know. But you have to be very careful about how you treat technology, because eventually you will need it. With technology, you got two choices. Either you roll with it or you get crushed by it, one or the other. And you just spent so much time belittling a darker technology. And now look at him. He has screen paint close to a very dark screen. The UV mix is very dark. It is very dark. For a person who basically comes heavily against darker products, the UV mix is very dark. It's almost it's near gunmetal worthy. It is. It's almost near gunmetal worthy. It's that dark. So I find it interesting how a person would just come out and say dark screens come up this way, and you're making this stuff. You're trying to come close to making it. And the sad thing about it is you will never ever be able to design a black screen, because you've done so much damage trying to belittle them. If you decide to design one, you basically become a hypocrite to your customer base. That's why in life it's always best to come with a half a glass. Always. You always have room for knowledge. When you don't do that, well, it comes back to bite you in the face. I already did that already. I'm 53 years old. I've learned from my past a lot of things people don't know about me. You know, I was in the fashion business. There's a lot of things people don't know about me. I was in the fashion business, design clothes. I used to, I remember right around the time when people were buying jeans for like $200 and $300 for a pair of jeans. I couldn't afford it. I was working at Pizza Hut. And I was at the church and I was watching the women in the back make clothes for the choir. And I asked them if they could teach me how to make clothes. And I learned how to make clothes by going back there and obtaining that knowledge from these elders who taught me how to read patterns and work with sewing machines and stuff like that. And I learned how to make my own clothes. And next year I was designing my own clothes. And a buddy down the street, he did airbrushing and stuff. So I went down there and I got his knowledge and started learning how to airbrush. He was teaching me. I was paying him a little money out of my pocket for my Pizza Hut job, paying him to teach me how to airbrush clothes. And then it got into airbrushing and rhinestone. You remember that era. And I was coming in the city blues, dressed up with all this gear that I designed myself, and happened to bump into a fellow in there who designed clothes for a fashion show. And that's how I got into the fashion business. Yep. So, if I wanted someone to learn a skill or knowledge, I'd find somebody in the neighborhood maybe doing drywall and something like that, and, learn their skill. Knowledge is everything, man. You got to always come empty. So you can basically obtain as much knowledge as possible. And that's how I learned. Go in there and, learn. Don't come in thinking you know everything, because then you learn nothing at all, period. So, from that experience of basically spending years with these people, learning their craft and their skill, and even though I got to a point where I became really good at it, I still kept my mouth shut and still listened, because you never know who's going to walk into that room that can teach you something even more. So, So I listened, and I learned how to make clothes, got a job in the fashion business. And it wasn't like Calvin Klein or anything like that. It was like small like that, but it was good money. Gave me a little exposure, gave me a chance to see what that kind of life was like. It was interesting, Got a chance to meet a lot of interesting people at that time. That was right in the time around the 80s when I was doing all that. Yeah, I was making my when 8-ball jackets came out, and people were spending like $800-$900 for 8-ball jackets. I was customizing my own 8-ball jackets. I was making a killing. I was making more money. I was making at Pizza Hut. People were coming like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. They had to buy the material, how they want the jacket done, what kind of pattern, how they want to design. I cut up and did their own custom 8-ball jackets. Custom leather bomber jackets, all that stuff back in the day. Yeah, I designed, making all that stuff. Good money. Learned the craft, learned the skill. Came in half glass, made extra money. Quit my job at Pizza Hut and had a little shop. I was making a little money out of my a little shed in the back of my mom's backyard, her tool shed. Making my money back there. Yep, learn. Okie doke. So, just lessons in life. This is how I got on this field right here. With this technology, my buddy June is the guru of projectors. I know more than him when it comes to technology, real quick. I know some stuff. June is pretty up there. His advancement skills and programming are way, way, way up there. He's popped in the room a few times. He got this fellow named by June Tech. I don't know if he's on YouTube or not, but his IQ is up there somewhere. He's really, really crazy. But he's the most humblest person you've ever met in your entire life. You would never know in a million years that guy was literally that smart. Yeah, a couple of them were geniuses that were smart. But anyway, he's the one that taught me about projectors. He's the one that got me into this field. Because I was all about TVs and LCDs and all that stuff like that. And he's the one that got me into this field. So every day I come to the store and I would ask him, what does lumens mean? What does lux mean? What does so and so and so? And he was educating, he was teaching me. And that's how I got in this field right here. So, even though I've gone to places, I got a chance to be, people pay for tickets and they'll send me to Florida, California, to facilities to test out my technology. And I'll be in there with guys who were nuclear engineers, and I met a nuclear engineer and literally met one. Really fascinating guy. Really fascinating. Just sat there and just listened to this guy talk all day. Most humblest person on the face of the planet. But anyway, they were in there talking about all these guys were brainiacs in there. They had this technology we were working on. And I'm trying to work on I'm not going to tell you anything about it, because even though the NDA is over, I keep my word, I don't talk about it. But they had something down there. The problem they had with the screen was it wasn't picking up angles. So every time they went to turn to the side, the angles would fade. They couldn't get the screen to pick up. And that's where they brought me down there to do a spray-on application on the screen to get their angles to pull up for the environment they needed for a storefront advertisement for where they were from. So anyway, I'm down there and I'm mixing up the coding for the screen and everything. And I'm having this conversation with this guy. And he goes, this guy got introduced me to this guy. You and him have something in common. He's not common. Trust me, nowhere near common. He's a nuclear something engineer, whatever it was, way up there. And this guy just spent like 10 years on a nuclear submarine. It's crazy stuff, right? So I'm in here talking with this guy, and even though these guys brought me down there, flew me down there, me and my ex down there to design this. That's why I did the video. I said going to a business trip in California, wherever it was, in Florida. Even though they flew me down there and they talked high praise about me, I kept it humble the entire time I was down there. Painted the screen in, and he had some guy in the back. He was, I think it was Arabic. He was a really tough cookie person to sell to. He's the guy who actually gave you the contract. And usually he doesn't give out contracts all that much. I wasn't bothered because I knew my faith was with God. I went there, sprayed the screen in. We did everything went up. And I was out there talking to the other guy, the guy was in the nuclear submarine. We were having a conversation. I was meeting. The guy had his wife down there and his family and friends down there. It was pretty nice gathering down there. And they fired up the projector, and then boom, screen came on, and that thing lit up. Beautiful. Beautiful. Angles came up perfectly. So the guy came out of the office. He said, "What's this?" He starts looking at the screen. He's walking around it, and they didn't realize the entire time when the screen was lit up that the lights were on the whole time. And the guy was, "Look, the lights are on. The lights are on." And the screen came up on every angle. And the guy walked over and gave me a contract. So, yeah, but like I said, interesting, you know. And even though they were talking to me at the time, like I was the owner of it all, no, I was half glass the whole entire time. I was absorbing knowledge from them. Learned some things when I was down there. I learned a lot of things from when I was down there. All the technology and stuff I was looking at, I was just teaching myself, asking questions, getting information, learning. That's why I spend my off times. I spend time on the computer watching big companies. I watch their environments. I watch what kind of projectors they're using. I'm constantly learning, constantly getting information from them. So let's get this started. So yeah, as I said, Mike, you always gotta come half glass, always. Okay, got a chance to get a little breather in there sometimes. Sometimes we talk and can't catch my breath. Let's get started for today. No, I'll tell you something. I understand. I don't know. I would rather, right from the door, I'll lie to you not. I'm going to tell you right there from the door. I've been to fashion shows where they had food to your heart content. I mean, crazy stuff on the table. Been to a couple of nice, good fashion shows. So this is the part I had to think about when I'm in there watching all this stuff go on in this fashion show to get the women in the back and getting ready to go out front. This is not high-end fashion show. It's like, you know, mid-level, right? But still all the same way. It's all done the same way. And I started thinking to myself, okay, you want to become a model. Most people that come up to become models are broke. You know, you got to pay for pictures, you got to get yourself an agent, you know, all that stuff like that. You know, it's hard. You got to work this couple of different jobs. Especially, you know, you got to be in New York City. Some people got to be in New York City. New York City is crazy, you know, expensive to live down there. So, you know, you got to live that life. That you gotta live that under the kitchen sink life until you can get to where you need to go. You gotta make a lot of sacrifices. So I'm thinking, like, at that time, you don't really have enough money for food. Like for food and, you know, the everyday things you don't really have unless you can get a roommate in there or something like that. But you can get food, but not on that level, like the way they were eating over there. So you really have to sacrifice on that. And then when you do get that break and you do get a chance to get your foot in that door and do get a chance to walk down that catwalk, you still can't eat the food. Because now you have to worry about your investment. So, you know, I don't think they have to go that far. You know what I mean? Going like super crazy thin. Like, why? Like, I watch on Facebook and they have some of the models on there for Calvin Klein and stuff like that. And these people are literally skin and bones. Like, you literally stare on it. You want to pelt them. Get them in the corner and pelt them with cheeseburgers. Some of them can be disorders. A lot of you understand some of these people have just eating disorders and some of the stuff that could be psychological damage and peer pressure and stuff like that. So there's a lot of stuff that goes on inside their mind. But when you sit down and have a talk with some of these people, they're normal, everyday people, but they do have a lot of crazy stuff going on through their life. And you're like, man, I never ever want to be a model. But what I do appreciate, I like the plus size model, and I'll tell you why. Plus size model got good. They can eat whatever they want, you know, they can chill, relax, and stuff like that. Yeah. And they don't have to go through the peer pressure having to be this thin and so and so and so. They can actually appreciate, and people should actually respect that. I don't see why people have the right to go and criticize somebody because of their their size and so forth. So what? Big deal. You know what? At the end of the day, if it makes you happy, that's who you are, that's who you are. Oh my goodness. I'm going to philosophy stage. So let me get this done because I'll be in here talking about all kinds of stuff. And next, the setting will change. We'll have candles around. But yeah, I watch the plus size models. I'm cut from a different cloth. Gotta have a real woman. I'm sorry, I'm not saying that the other ones are not, so don't get mad, but that's my preference. All right, so Mr. Bird has talked too much. Let's get this painted. When you see me sit down like this, it means usually something's triggering off in my chest or something, and I got to get a chance to basically recalibrate myself so I can get up and get what I have to get done. Yes, Mr. Bird is an old man, 53 years old. I've been here before the beginning of time. I've been here before the primal dust. I rode the Tyrannosaurus Rex. I have done it all. Yes. All right, so let's get this started. So you can see the color of this. You can see it's not the same color as that. All right, let's get this started, people, because we got a lot to do. And I got no time to, again, we got to pad the bar in the middle because we don't want the imprint. Let's get that done. I'm already cutting the grass early today. Oh, okay. I'll tell you one thing, of all that I've been through in life, best decision I made was to become a Christian. That's the best decision I've made, was find God. Whew, man, the stuff I've seen, the corruption and people doing this and doing that in the business world, yeah, I'm gonna tell you right now, I've seen some stuff, man. I've seen all kinds of trickery and backstabbing and every kind of business you can think of, and I'm glad I'm with God, because God will keep you calibrated perfectly, and I'll tell you why. There are business deals I've turned down. I don't care how much money's involved. I've turned down business deals because that person I could see, they weren't reflecting what in a world where I wanted to be with the Lord. Like I could, if I'm doing business with people that are not doing things right, I don't do business with them, at all. Some people don't see it because they're too busy chasing money. When you're too busy chasing money, you don't see the danger signs. When you're a Christian and you're basically doing it for, you're doing it because of the Lord, something you enjoy to do. It's not about the money. It's about, people have to understand. It's more about yourself. You know what the Lord is right. When you're a Christian, you chase God. When you're in this world, you chase money. So if you're out there chasing money, and God happens to take back what belongs to Him, because keep in mind, I explain to people, you are all on borrowed time. None of this in your life is yours. You're not taking nothing with you. Everything I obtained in this house, everything I buy, everything I have, it's not coming with me when I die. It's going to stay right here on this earth. Somebody else is going to pick it up. It's going to be theirs. And then they're going to keep it for a while, and they're going to die, and it's going to be left to everybody else. So keep in mind, everything you obtain on this planet will be left to somebody else. That's how it works. You come in with nothing, you leave with nothing. That's how it works. So let's think about all the stuff down through time of kings and queens and emperors and noblemen who have collected great riches to leave it all behind for another. That's what they call toil under the sun in the Bible. Man works by the sweat of his brow to give to another. That's what it stands for. So you think about all the antiques. Go to the museum and look at all the antiques they have before you. All those antiques were owned by somebody. All had ownerships attached to them. But they couldn't go with the owners because it's not meant for you to have. Everything you have here is borrowed, including your own very life. People don't want to accept that, but it is. You don't live forever. Sooner or later, you have to go home. You have to go back to the one who gave you life, whether you believe it or not. And those who don't believe it will see his face and find out the hard way. The sad thing about it is once you do go back, there is no second chance. That's it. That's the end of it. So you got one chance and that's it. So at any given time, if he decides to call back what belongs to him, like say I'm here today. Tomorrow it can be my time for God to call me home. So tomorrow anything could happen to me. And I could pass away, and then I go back home, and then I have to face him, and he's going to ask me like, hey, what have you done with my time since you've been on the earth? And I said, I really haven't done anything at all, period. Well, you know what I mean? I squandered my time while I was here. So that's why I explain to people that, you know, don't become obsessed with money. And I'm not. It's the technology I developed. I could be a multi-millionaire easily, very, very easily, if I chose to be. I don't want to be wrapped up in that world. I don't want to be involved with that kind of nonsense and the kind of stuff that comes with it. I'm happy in my world that I'm in right now. The closer to God, the farther away from money. God makes sure I have everything I need. Make sure my rent's paid, my lights are on. I got food in the refrigerator. I got money for my medication, little toys and stuff I like to buy here and there. He makes sure I buy what I need. He also makes sure that I can have what I'm supposed to have. Sometimes there's some things you don't need. There's something you don't need. Like I bought that projector, that big old giant monster of a projector. Lord blessed me to get it, but I didn't really need anything that big in the house like that. That thing was crazy. I got rid of it. Sometimes God will let you have something so you can look at it and go, you know, I really didn't need this thing to begin with. Why did I buy this? So, you know, that's what I love about the Lord. So that's why I don't get mixed up with the high rollers and all that stuff, and I don't chase money, and I can't be bought because I'm not in it for money. Yes, I am in for money because I have to pay bills and stuff, but still, you know, I don't let the money control my life. I chase God because my riches are in heaven. So when I pass off this earth, I know that I will be seeing his face, and I can say, yeah, you know, I followed you when I was down there. I did what I had to do, you know, so and so and so, and, you know, I followed you. That was the only way to go, the only way I will go. I'm not chasing no money. So companies can come up to me, they can offer me whatever they want. Your money, you can't buy me because you don't have anything you can give me because God has already given it to me. There you go. Can't buy. Some Christians can be bought and some can't. And that's why you don't see me, because you look at me. I got screens, I got demonstrations showing my technology, taking out 11 certifies. These screens are like $5,000 and $6,000 projection screens. My tests are unmatched from anyone you can look on YouTube. Not bragging, but truth. You look at, there's no one matching my demonstrations at all. So my technology easy sell for that kind of money with no problem. And then we develop technology so fast. You know what I mean? We just designed the Phoenixes. Now we got new technology. It's the same thing, but it's a different grade of the Phoenix. Because then we have a spray-on version that's concentrated. We have the roll-on version, which we're working on the spray-on version. The rated spray-on version is downstairs right now. Done already. They were designed today. They were knocked down, designed today. So that information is fed to me by my Lord and Savior. That's going to have that. Now we got this new technology. We got the invisible screens. Wow, it's amazing, you know. But, you know, these companies, it takes them years and years and years to develop technology, years to do it. And God has blessed us to develop technology within hours. And not only that, show what it can do to the competition in no time at all. Anything you throw at it, meters, whatever you want, you can throw at it. Now, get me wrong, there are times when I get on camera and I do some dumb stuff. I do. I admit that. I do some dumb stuff. Christians are supposed to be bragging and carrying on. I brag. I do that from time to time. So there are things about me. And Christians aren't perfect. And people got to stop thinking that we're not perfect. Heck no, far from it. We make mistakes just like everybody else. There's a reason why we have to forgive people. I do forgive Jamie for the stuff that he does, but he still has to be prosecuted for the things that he has done. Because, you know, Christians were meant to be walked over. So he still has to go to court for this. He still has to be prosecuted for the stuff he has done. But, I don't know, hatred for the man? Want to kill the man? No, I don't have any of that. I don't have no hatred for him. Nothing at all. Because at the end of the day, I do some dumb stuff. So, you know, people have to understand. When people say you have to forgive people who do wrong against you, you know, eventually you will, you have to take them to court because you have to do what has to be done. Justice must be served. But at the end of the day, you can't hold great hatred for another person. Because at the end of the day, if you want forgiveness from God, and God cannot forgive you unless you can forgive another. So you have to forgive. And it's not an easy thing to do, because I've had some people that tick me off way beyond Jamie that I really literally want to go out and put a bullet in. And I had to basically calm myself down and work through those demons and walk up to that person that I wanted to literally kill and say to them, I forgive you, so and so, and go about my day. Leave it at that. So it's hard to do. It's not hard to do because the devil will get in there and mess with you and go, oh, you got to go do what you got to do. You got to go represent. You got to go hurt this person. You don't hurt them. You don't do this. They're going to come back. They're going to think you're a punk, this, that, and the other. Yeah, he'll get in there and do his work. He'll get his work. He'll get his work in there. But you got to remember, vengeance is mine, says the Lord. Thou shalt not kill. And you got to forgive people. You got to. So, on camera, sometimes I showboat. I go a little too far with the bragging. I go a little too far with the this, that, and the other. But then again, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking like these people have basically tried to belittle my work and call me this and call me that, call me scammer, and you know, I don't mind them taking pictures of me and posting. It don't bother me at all. That don't bother me. You know, it don't even bother me anymore that people know where I live at. It don't bother me. I don't care because I know that my Lord and Savior protects me. I don't worry about that kind of stuff. You know, it just shows that how far some people will go to do things unprofessionally. I know where Jamie lives at. I know where he works at. I hired an investigator to get that information for me when we take him to court. I don't post that information because that's very unprofessional. You don't do stuff like that. There's a line you just don't cross in business. You know, even among mobsters and thieves, and you know, they have rules and regulations that they just don't cross. Even with them, you know what I mean? And he just doesn't have that respect line there. So, you know, even though I have his information, I could easily post his information where he works at and everything. I don't do that because that's very disrespectful. Even when I play his videos, I turn down the music, down his voice because I think that's disrespectful. There's a line there. You got how you do things. But anyway, long story at the end of the day. Yeah, when I get on camera and I start acting up a little bit, and I got to remind myself. Sometimes the Lord will remind me. If you hear me sometimes, you know, yeah, we're the best, and this, that, and the other, and nobody can take it. You hear me carrying on like that, going through that no motion I'm going through. Sometimes the Lord will remind me and put me in my place, and I feel like in my chest, like a little sharp pain or something, and I learn, shut your mouth, calm down, and just do your job. So God will correct me on when I'm doing something stupid. That's another good thing about the Lord. He'll correct you when you're doing something dumb. So I have to forgive people for the things that they do to me because I need God's forgiveness for the dumb stuff that I do. Sometimes I get mad at my neighbor. Sometimes I curse my neighbor, called him something. He did something to a branch over my freaking which one. I called him something. It was a bad word. I should have never said it. And I told him, I went out there and talked to him, and I apologized for the curse word and all. He apologized for throwing the branch over my yard. And I forgave him, went back in the house. He went back in the house and went down and ate, you know. But I got to get forgiveness from God, and I got to forgive other people because I do dumb stuff. No, so I know, trust me, I know. Constantly have myself in a magnifying glass every single day because I want to make sure I do things right by him. All right, so let's get this painting. We had a long talk today, didn't we? Yes, we did. All right, let's get this done. We got a lot to do. Trust me, if you knew what my schedule was today, you can see why Mr. Bird was sitting down having this conversation with you today because Mr. Bird got a lot on his plate today. And I'm praying we can get all this done. We don't get any heat today, so I can get outside and get my screen mounted because I need my gamer screen outside to get out of the way of the room in my house. All right, so we're going to lift this up. I'm going to pad the bar. The bar is padded, so we don't have to worry about getting a bar imprint. I don't even know why I even pad this anymore. I got so many layers of paint on this particular screen. It is like literally a piece of sheet wood, or plywood, as I'm going to call it. And then we're going to go, when I finally get the other shot done, which is going to be in August, because I think I got a different shot. Some people get theirs, and somebody was asking me, like, well, I got mine in 2 weeks. Mine's different. I forgot the name of my shot that I got. But mine's different. I got to wait. I thought mine was going to be in 2 weeks, literally. But mine's not. So certain shots that you get, so if you don't know, certain shots you'll have in 2 weeks. You can take the second one in 2 weeks. Some of them will be like 28 days, depending on which one you get. I forgot mine's a Rederma or whatever it's called. I forget the name of it. But mine, I have to wait until August the 14th to get the second one. Now, keep in mind, yeah, I'm still going to be masking up. Still going to do 6 feet away. Because they got, like I said, with this whole virus thing, you're way beyond COVID now. We got that Delta crazy stuff going on. Yeah, I've been reading up on that stuff. Yeah, I'm not trying to play around with that too much. But this will also, too, give me a little freedom. Because now I can leave the house. And my friend can drive me to Home Depot. And I can start picking up plywood and sheet metal, stuff like that, stuff that we can paint and turn into screens. Because it's a little hard to buy this stuff when you're trying to get off Amazon. All right, so we got a roller here. We got a little shake here. Okay, there we go. Put our paint out. I'm going to try to paint this thin as possible because you don't need a lot with this. The applications to be used for our products, you don't need much paint to do it. You know, I still got paint left over from the other screen. I painted over there, and, you know, we got paint left over. So how I paint my screens are, and mind you, my rollers aren't expensive, cheap, everyday 9-inch nap rollers, all you need. That's it. You don't need anything special or fancy. That's all. And what I do, I do my corners around and that's basically about it. Now the lump you're seeing in the middle of the screen, you're not going to see that at all, period. If you notice, see my screen over there? We don't have no lump in the middle of the screen at all. That basically stretches right on, right there. So you're not going to see any of that. That's just to make sure you pad your bar, because the last thing you want is this huge imprint staring you in the face after you're done painting your screen. And that is a freaking nightmare right there. I remember I did a 200-inch screen in my other house, and I had 4 bars in the middle of the screen, and when I went to paint the screen, I didn't pad the bars. Because I didn't know at the time, you know? So I set up this 200-inch screen, it's massive. I set up this 200-inch screen, and I didn't see it in the contrast demonstration. When I showed the contrast, the white levels, I saw it. 4 bar imprints in the middle of my screen. And that's when I realized where it came from, and I got myself a bed sheet and did all 4 of them, and didn't have that problem since. So that's where I learned that from. See how smooth this stuff goes on? This stuff goes on so smooth. Watch this. It goes on real smooth. So it's really smooth. 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 Very smooth. And like I said, I gotta, you're gonna protect your company, and you have to, you should. You should protect your company. Don't anybody walk over top. Anything you build, anything you design, anything you make, don't let anybody walk over top of that. Now, I don't mind people doing side-by-side demonstrations. People are going to do that. Like me, I want to do some side-by-side demonstrations against screen innovation. I'm dead serious about that. I do want to do some side-by-sides with the newer technology. But, if I went on there and said, hey, don't buy their products, you know what I mean, they're scamming, the screens come up too dark, this, that, and the other, and you cross their line, it'll get you sued. So, doing stuff like that, you shouldn't do it. I mean, people can come out and say, well, Ken, you said his product was black and white paint. Well, yeah, it is, because we have a video of him actually showing making the product with black and white paint. It's the exact same paint I bought in the next room, which is Metallica Mix 2.0. So we do have evidence on that. So it's kind of hard to say that you're accusing somebody of something when you have evidence on it. And then, quite frankly, I don't even know why I even feed into the fact that when he shows demonstrations of my material coming up too dark, you can't see it, because it would be virtually impossible to display a screen in a live display, or having the companies who have contracts underneath of us display their screens, and they you can see them with no problem. So as from there, you can automatically tell from the door. But those are just his followers who basically believe in that nonsense. And if that was the case, it would be affecting our contract. Look how beautiful that goes on. It's smooth. Okay, let's finish this. So this is the screen we're showing off yesterday. Let's get off that topic, because we've got things to do. This is the screen we showed off yesterday that came up with the dark levels. So I just want to show you how light it is. Very easy. And I'll tell you, it's a 1-coat application. So 1 coat. You don't have to have multiple coats on it, just 1 coat. All you need. All you need is 1 coat. Now, when you paint your aluminum device, this is a test screen, so I'm going to jack up the size anyway, don't care, because it's a test screen. But if you're doing a screen, I'll show you. I did a couple of videos. I'll put a video below showing you how we did a screen starting from when it started off with its white when we first purchased it. And we'll show you how to tape up the borders and all that stuff. This is why I like the edgeless. See the borders on this right here? See the edgeless? That's why I like the edgeless screens. Just take it out, paint it down, but the edges cost a little more. That's the only problem. It do cost a little bit more money, but it's worth it. Trust me, it is worth it. Make some. Make those screens. All right, and we just have a middle piece to do. Put this in. That's all we needed. We didn't need much. What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me. No. Yeah, you gotta have fun with it, That's why I don't people tell me, oh, you make millions of dollars, you be rich, that, the other. I'm like, I got a settlement coming through for the people that made me sick. The house I moved into, yeah, lawyers on that. That's what I know. I said I know lawyers. I got lawyers on that. I got lawyers that are taking care of that little problem I had in that house. And people got me sick when I breathed in all that black mold. So, you know, I think I gotta get a big, good piece of change out of that. So I could retire with that, but I'm actually gonna be donating probably around 60% of that to charity because, like I said, don't need all that. All I need is enough to make me happy. That's it. Somebody else can use it better than me. You know? Mr. Sandman, send me your dream. We're done anyway. I'm just in here messing around. All right, people. It's got a nice thin coat on this. I didn't have to use a lot of paint to paint this. We got to do some big screens. Bigger screens. The biggest screens we have in here. What's the biggest screen we got in this house? The 151 upstairs. That's the biggest screen we got. We got to do something bigger than a 50-inch screen. I want to do the 250. We're definitely going to do the 250. 250, you got. I got the extenders for that because you got to be outside to do that one. But now we're building that monster. It's going to be a monster. I'll stay a monster. I'll stay a monster. Where's your monster? I'll stay a monster. Yeah. All right, so this is finished. Up and away, my beautiful. Now, screen is going to go off like crazy. Remember, we're at 5,000 lumens right now. So we got a screen already done and dried. All right. So we'll show you that one first. I didn't paint this one last night, but see, get off of there. I didn't paint this one last night, but we did have this one on display last night. This is the one we did last night. It was painted. I'll show you when it's dry, because the other one's going to look like it's going to hot spot like crazy, but it's not hot spotting. So you can see that it's not hot spotting. It's just when you have wet paint and you hit it with a projector, even with a flashlight, it's going to poof, give you a hot spotting effect. So we're going to throw the dry one out here to show you. So this is screen painted already. Moving to the left. Man, if they came out with a claptrap version of this freaking robot I have here on the floor, I would get 3 of them. Especially if they made them like with some kind of artificial intelligence so they can actually communicate with each other back and forth. Can you imagine having 3 of those claptraps running through your house? Man, that'd be the funniest thing ever, man. I love claptrap. He's a funny dude. All right, let me get me a drill because I haven't drilled that screw a little more so my screen doesn't come down on me. Let's just try upstairs or nothing. All right. Now the short trick to insanity. I went all the way upstairs for a drill that I literally have in the kitchen. Wow. That was a short trip to insanity. Make sure my screws up here a little better. I gotta hang the screen up here. That screw looks a little weak. Wait a minute, we don't hang these from here. No, we don't. We hang them from there, from the top. That's a big screen, that's why it's a 100-inch. And I just got new screws too. I need to put those up there, the heavier ones, 4 heavier ones. What I should be doing. All right, let's get this cracking, Jackson. All right. Open up the door and have some air. It's gonna be cool today, so I can feel that. Get this started. That's the screen when it's dry, and that's what it looks like when it's wet. Hopefully you got the remote controls down here correctly. I'm seeing the one on the theater is missing, which I might have that in my hand right now. You got the theater screen on me? Yep. All right, so let's see the hunt for the remote controls. What's going on? No Christmas in here. Nothing there. Let's go over here. I never had the remote controls on hand when I'm doing these demonstrations. I don't know why. Which one are you? Are you over here? No, that's not you. All right, this has got to be the screen for that room. So we've got 3 over here. Why do we have 3 remote controls? Now, see, y'all see me randomly running around the house looking for remote controls, right? I'm going to show you something. These are my fire sticks. I got 2 more in the next room. When you see, like, I'm running around the house, I'm like, which remote control is which? This is how many fire sticks we have in the house. So I get them mixed up. So let's go through the numbers. No? There we go, we found it. So look at the screen. Look how dark it comes up. When the projector hits it, it shifts to black. Isn't that cool? That is cool, isn't it? It comes out that light and it shifts to that black. So we're going to call this, the name we're going to have for it is contrast shifting technology. Even more impressive, let's do Starfield screensaver. You'll get the insane white levels because the screen is a very light screen, but you'll be able to see contrast at the same time. I love how YouTube milks those commercials. They put one in there and it runs down all the time. Boom, another one comes on. Yeah, see that? So we went from this to this. All right, so let's get the big screen here hung up. So now you can see, and watch, I'll show you something. Watch, give me a minute. Let me show you something. So you can see that it's the same screen. Let me break it down for you. I gotta have it saying that all the time, so let me check on my cake. There you go. See? So for that screen can pick up a contrast level. So that's why we call it contrast shifting technology, because it can pick up a black level. See, I saw something Screen Innovation had. I thought it was quite unique. So for this screen, it was white this time, and it shifted over. When he moved on, it turned black. And I said, oh, I wonder how that's done. I didn't have to do any research for that. God will listen to you and hear what you want. He does. If it's in your will to have it, you'll have it. If it's not, then you just have to wait a couple of years or a couple of months or whatever time he feels that is ready for that particular time for you to have it, because he knows best. I used to get upset and get angry sometimes because I couldn't figure out why things wouldn't happen fast enough. And I learned to be patient, relax, have faith, put it in his hands, don't worry about it. If he took care of me last year, he'll take care of me this year. What any other time, what would be the difference? Just be patient, wait, and the right time will come for you to have that. And this is my time to have this. So this is why we have it now. Some things I say something on camera, I might not have it for a couple of months because I have to wait until he's ready to give it to me, when it's ready for me to have it. That's where patience comes in too. Learn to be patient. And if it's meant for you to have, it's meant to have. Sometimes God will give you something and you don't even want it. Like that projector. Got that projector in here and wanted that projector. Asked me to win the bid. Got that projector for $500. It cost me a couple $1,000. And then went to plug it in, dimmed all my lights in the house. I'm gonna go back and look at that video. Dimmed all the lights in the house. Had to go on an extra $300 for a battery pack to plug up to that thing, because an extra $300 for that battery unit. To plug up to it, only got 2 hours out of the battery that was like 1,800 watts or something, 1,800 put out. 2 hours, that thing ate that battery that quick. And then it just got to a point where it was like, it's too big for me to lug in and out of the house for demonstrations, and a massive giant roadhouse case attached to it. Parts were expensive for it. And Lord let you have some things to say you didn't really need it. And I didn't need it. So, There's something to teach you that sometimes the things you just don't need to have to have. Here we go. Oh. Going the wrong way, wrong way. And why am I lifting up the screen when I got clearly a bookcase right there waiting for me for the other screen? Yeah, that's not smart. That's not a smart move right there at all, period. We'll get that out of the way. I think I should, hold on. That doesn't feel too bad. Like, kind of pushing it a little bit, but it doesn't feel like it's going to come out and guillotine me and really get my head decapitated by it. I think I should be pretty good. I bet you the fan's there. I bet you $100. I left a fan there, didn't I? Did I leave a fan there? Yes, I did. Man, story of my life. Be prepared. Not prepared. Be prepared. Not prepared. Left a fan there. Bird. No. Move the bookcase. Leave the fan there. That's a good idea. At least we put it on backwards. So, let's see. All right, now we can put the fan on. That screen's not heavy. Surprisingly, these screens are not heavy at all. Some of the generic screens that I've purchased, those suckers were heavy. Oh my goodness. I got a 92-inch in there. This is a 100-inch elite screen. The screen's lighter than the 92. The 92 is freaking heavy as I don't know what. Feels like I'm lifting freaking an old Sony Vega up the stairs. You ever lift one of those up before? You'll know exactly what I'm talking about, Sony Vegas. All right, so let's get this thing to expand out. We need remote control for this. Get this party started. So let me do some lens shifting. Let's go up a little bit. Come on, baby, move with me. Yeah, we got to change my batteries out. This is a little bit slow. There we go. Get you in the center. And let's get you to expand out some. No, that's not it. Ooh, that's it. There we go. So you can see now how dark the coating is. Right in front of your eyes. So this is what, next stage, we'll see if we can try this with a silver application. Man, we get this with a silver application, how amazing this would be. Paint it silver, come up, boom, it turns dark. That would be amazing, wouldn't it? But we'll see, whatever he had, well, we gotta wait and see what he has planned. All right, let's go down. We need to go down one. Remote control was literally like trying to learn the Star Trek Enterprise interface for the first time. Can you imagine starting your job on that battleship? Like, what the freak? Like, seriously? This looks nothing like the simulator. Nothing like the simulator. You imagine your first day in on that huge, massive dashboard, you get attacked by freaking Klingons? Oh, that's even worse. Now you got to memorize that stuff like in a split second, or you get blown up. Okay, I love Star Trek. I'm a huge Star Trek fan. I can never understand how they have such insane weapons, but their shields are so poorly made. Like, they'll get hit with something like shields are down 20%. Like, really, it was like one hit, and your shields are already down like 20%. I love Star Trek. Trust me, I like the old Deep Space Nine and all of them, but I like the original one with Captain Kirk. Now, that was the best. That was always the best. The two-hand, excuse my French, Lord, pimp slap. If you know what the two-hand pimp slap from Captain Kirk is, the fist pimp slap, you don't know Star Trek. You don't know that. Ugh. Captain Kirk. I'll watch some of that tonight. I'll watch some Star Trek tonight. I like the rest of it, man. I haven't watched Picard, but one has one called Picard. I haven't watched that one yet. Now, it's interesting that when I was watching Star Trek and Deep Space Nine and all them, I wanted to do it on a big screen, like a massive big screen, so I could feel like I was actually in outer space. Now I have these giant screens in the house, and I've already watched TV on them. All right, expand this a little more, a little more, a little bit more. It should be good right there for right now. I got to expand it out. I don't got it fitting there just right. I got some of it hitting there, but we got it in there. So while that's drying, let me go in and get, because we're still wet. As you can see, any area that's shiny is still wet. So let me get this. This is going to dry in front of you. I got to clean up my mess behind me because we're done. You know, honestly, truthfully, this is about 100-inch. Out of a gallon, you could probably do about 300-inch screens because I didn't use hardly anything to do the screen, like hardly nothing. So, oh, by the way, now this formula is a little different. It is a little thinner than the other one, so you can use this with a paint sprayer, even a stain sprayer like a 250, no problem. We'll go through this with no problem at all. But it's not rear, just to let you know. All right, so let me finish up in here. Get that thing back over here. Open up the door. For goodness sake, Mr. Bird. Mr. Bird. Okay. Whoa, you're a big bug. Yeah. So I was very excited about this. Like, this stuff is really freaking cool. And we'll get all that to dry. We'll start going. Now, the thing about it is that, using the meters, let me talk about the meters for a minute. Using the meters, now meters are interesting because light is constantly changing, constantly fluctuating in your environment. I mean, anything could change light fluctuation. Someone moving in a room, that could disturb the balance of light moving in the environment. So when you have a meter reading, if you walk past it, it'll change. If you put an object in front of it, it will change. It constantly fluctuates. That's how I had to keep coming back to the meter over and over again because even if we moving around the environment, that changes the reading, literally. So, you know, I can't post in a room exactly how much your room is using when that light's going to constantly change. Depending on how much light is outside, the sun could be dropping, that could change light in the environment. Anything could do it, could trigger it. Like at nighttime, I'll be in here at 3 and 4. Daytime, I'll be in here at 8 and 9. So, you know, like I said, constantly changes all the time. So that's why I keep going back and showing the meter and how much light we have in the environment. But, you know, as for, you know, the other individuals talking about how hard to read a meter, it's not that hard. It's very easy. You can download a cell phone app and do it. And cell phone apps, the reason why I don't like them because it's not, some of them are good, some of them are just not that accurate. If you're going to do an accurate reading, you have to have an official certified meter to do that. You know, you want that credibility behind it. You want to stand by the equipment that you're using. It's best that you use a meter that basically is well known, number one, those are well known, and something that has some kind of credibility behind it as being a certified piece of equipment if you're going to be using it for such a demonstration such as this. So that's why it's very important to have that. Other than that, I've used cell phone apps. I'm not saying all of them are bad, but I've used one for measuring and try to find studs in the wall and stuff like that. And I would just came off better just buying the actual physical unit, and it just worked out much better. Because sometimes, remember, this is being designed by a third party, and third party, you know, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. We all know that. So, you know, just spend $36 and go down and get a real one. You don't have to worry about it. But it's not hard to use. It's not rocket science. It's just basically go in, you hit the button, it turns on, and then all it actually measures from the door. Now, if you get to a point where you can change it, your settings, to allow you to up how much light you can take in. I always keep it at the first because in the house, we're not generating anywhere past 1800, anywhere near the house at all. I was in the attic and I didn't even generate that. But outside's a different story. You're going to go way past that. So you have to go into your meter, which I have right here. And I'll show you. You have to go into your meter right here. And you have to hit this peak button right there. So look on here, you will see in lux the ranges that you could travel to. Mine goes all the way up to 200,000. That's what mine goes to. So say we're at 2,000. I'm using 2,000 right now in the house because I know my house fluctuates between 400 and 1,800 just to be safe. If I had it at 200, the reading would come up with a little dot next to it. It's not picking up at all. So that's why I'm showing the house is not picking up in certain areas because there's too much light in those areas. I would have to basically bring up the level to probably around 2,000, and that will allow me to move about the house comfortably. But for some reason, in the middle of that floor, around 12 o'clock, it cancels out. So then I have to bring it up to the next level, which will be around 28. I think it's 28,000. If you can see that correctly, if I got that right, if I read that right from here. So you bring it to the next level. So that will allow me to be able to move about outside. So you can max out your level, yes, but so bring it all the way up, max it out to 200,000. So that gives you a bit of a free roam to be able to upgrade, go a little higher up. If I'm outside and I'm maxing out outside, I can go and move it up to another 200,000 or 30,000, and it'll bring me in that range on what my screen is picking up. So yeah, it's very easy to use. It's not hard to use. And before I purchased it, because like I said, it's my first time owning one of these, a little bit intimidating because, at first I couldn't figure out how this was done and how you use it. So I went online, did some research, watched people who had it, who did the reviews, some people tutorials and stuff like that on how to use them and everything. It was very easy. And that's why I bought this particular one. And just came on here, turned it on, and gave my reading. So when someone says that you don't know how to read something right, that's just somebody who can't accept the fact that you did ask me to get a meter. I did purchase one. I did bring one in the house. We are generating more light than the other individual with no problem. And I don't see why anybody can't see that, because in no way, in any form, does his environment look this bright. And in mine, my overheads are not even on. This is just the light I use right here. So he doesn't use this kind of light in his environment. So it's just basic common sense that with or without the meter, we're generating more light, especially when you're outside. So either two things. Either he's saying that he's using more light than me in his apartment versus my house and the light we're using now, or when we're outside doing demonstrations, the light that he has in his apartment is brighter than outside. And we all know it's not true. So now at the end of the day, the meter did exactly what it was supposed to do. And we showed we were producing more light. That's all. And maintaining the screen at the same time. So, those are excuses that people use when they have nothing else. And don't just latch on to that, and that's what they use. Because me and my buddy were talking, like, well, even if you get the meter, he's going to find some way to try to discredit it by saying, oh, this, that, and the other. That's why I got the name brand model. Because if I got something else and it's a generic, it's inaccurate, this, that, and the other, blah, 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 whatever. All right, so let me turn my lights up here. Like I said, you watch videos are dark all the time in the demonstrations, and one or two of them have the lights on. Well, if you're generating that much light in your environment like we're doing over here, and your screens are not having that problem, then you should have no problem displaying every single video demonstration from here on in that kind of environment. And you should display contrast as you're doing it, because you can't do a well-lit environment. Say I do well-lit environments all the time, right? And every time I do a well-lit environment, I don't show you a contrast level. I only show you bright colors only. The only time I do show you a contrast level is when it's mixed in with other colors. I don't give you a solid contrast level as you're seeing right now. It's in deep space. So I avoid that at all costs. There's something wrong there. You're not showing everything. You're not seeing everything. So when you get home, how is that contrast going to react to your environment? That's what you got to ask yourself at the end of the day. That's why it has to be done in a fully lit environment, because you need to see where the contrast levels are going to lay depending on how much light you have in the environment. Can't skip over those. This is very important. People have to see that. Because I guarantee that half of the people, not to be rude here, that may own his product, I bet you right now, you couldn't post one video demonstration under this demonstration right now of showing a Starfield demonstration that matches this screen right here. With this much light in the environment. I guarantee you can't show it to me. And the reason why you can't, because you can't go back and say, hey, look, this doesn't match on your video. It doesn't look the same because he's never did the video at all to begin with. There's no contrast demonstrations done at all. And like I said, we have to do it on black screens all the time to display white levels. You have to display white levels on a black screen. That's the first thing they're going to ask you is white levels. Can't avoid that one. So same thing, like we can't avoid those white levels. Same thing, gray screens can't avoid the contrast. You have to show it. Even when we're downstairs developing those ultralight gray screens, remember the ultralight gray screens we had? We were showing contrast levels, star fields, and they might not have been as great as the black screens, but we still have to display them. So you can see exactly where they lay at, because I don't want people thinking that because it's a gray screen and we develop darker technology that we're going to be able to make that screen look exactly like the black screen. That would be misleading. So that's why we have to come out and show you, and should show you, contrast demonstrations on the light screen in a fully lit environment, the same environment we put the dark screen, so you can get an understanding, okay, the levels are going to be fair, this is how it's going to come out, now I can see how it looks. There you go. You know, have to be upfront, now. Because at the end of the day, you can do a demonstration to trick your audience, but at the end of the day, your audience is going to buy that product, get it home, they're going to see what it's like. And that's why I'm happy about having these contracts, because now we have people that are going out and painting our screens in, and they're advertising it on YouTube. We got another fellow, which I can't talk too much about. He's talking about commercial time, you know, stuff like that. And you'll get a chance to see my technology in commercials. You'll get a chance to see other people displaying it. As a matter of fact, there's a fellow, I have to put the video up. He's a fan of he buys a lot of our products. He's been doing demonstrations of our products, you know, so it's nice to see somebody take our work and put it out there, like I said. And I hate to bring this up in the middle of this conversation right here, but like I said, we're going to court over this because, you know, his side, you started a campaign where he started a campaign where my product came up so dark you can't see it. And that would be virtually impossible because there's no way in the world I could walk through live, all these giant screens all over the house, and have him pull an image that you can see crystal clear. So that's what the lawsuit's about. I don't know how he got it mixed up in his head, but that's what that and the fact that he did use our copyright multiple times. He altered it, changed it the way he wanted to, and then posted it and used it without our permission. So that's one of the other lawsuits. But, you know, going out and saying somebody's product isn't what it is, mixing paints and stuff and making them darker, stuff like that, to slander someone's work, you can sue for that. That's a lawsuit. And you can contact any lawyer you want and they will tell you the same thing. Yeah, you can be sued for it. So, you know, I don't know about the other thing about impersonating the attorney. I don't know what that nonsense is about because we did request for his attorney multiple times. You saw me on camera asking him, requesting. The attorney never contacted us at all. So we already know from the door he's a fake. So, but no, you can't do that. You go to McDonald's, eat their food, and you get on YouTube and say I ate McDonald's food and you know it gave me cancer, even though you never had cancer, and say something like that, and you keep going on with that campaign and doing more and more videos about the campaign, keep going back in, you got a lawsuit on your hands, buddy. Because now you got to go into court and you got to show evidence that that food did what it was supposed to do. And if you can't prove it, whatever they're going to hit you with, that's what you're going to get. And you're going to have to pay that in court costs. So yeah, not a good thing to do. And I don't even have to get an expensive lawyer to do it. I don't have to pay a lot of money. My buddy said you can just get any guy coming out of law school will win that case because of the substantial amount of evidence. It's so much of it. And he was obsessed with it. He kept going on and on with it. We got about 30 videos under him dubbed of him basically saying title scammer and doing the demonstrations and us doing the site. Yeah. Then you got witnesses from companies that we've signed contracts that will come in and testify. So it's not good. It's not good at all. You just got to be careful how you do things in life, you know. And I guess some people get offended with me and they go, well, Ken, you know, we did the same. No, not really. His product is a scam because it does show him in the video making a black and white mixture, and it's the same product that we had downstairs that we made, so we can back it up. We have evidence. We got hardcore evidence. We actually have him on camera doing it. So like I said, yeah, but you gotta be careful about that kind of stuff. That'll get you a fat lawsuit at the end of the day. Not a pretty one either. And people can sit there and say, I see people say, well, I don't have $250,000 to pay up. You ever heard of a lien? You know how nasty liens are? Liens are extremely nasty. You got a student loan hitting around? Yeah, you would know what a lien is. You got a student loan floating around. Liens are nasty. They're nasty. It's not something you want to be hit with. You know, this has been going on for quite some time. A couple of years, about 5 or 6 years. Yep. All right, now I'm going to taint my video with this nonsense. So as you see, screen's drying in front of us all, right there. So it's not the same surface we had over there. I wonder if we can do this with us. Now I'm going to see if we can do this. Let's see. I would love to do a silver screen. Can you imagine having a silver screen and it turned like this? Wow, that'd be like, wow. All right, let's put something else on, some contrast on here. LG Beta Fish. Now, it's not going to have contrast levels equal to the black screens we have. No, it's not going to pull contrast level like a black Phoenix. No, black Phoenix can pull that contrast level. This thing mimics the image. So it's not going to pull that. Only screen can pull a black, 100% black screen is a 100% black screen. Same thing with white screens. Only screen that's going to pull that, it's going to be a white screen. But this technology here is going to allow you, but it's going to give you that deep, rich contrast that you want. As you can see, it's displaying its black levels perfectly. Not going to be like I said. We'll do side-by-sides and contrast levels near the darker screens. But as you can see, what I just painted on that floor does not look, it's not reacting the same way as you're seeing right now. I said, God is good. God is good. He'll bless you with what you need to have. You know? Depends on what you do with his blessings. Now, like I said, this technology alone, I can be rich off this alone. I have a screen now that can basically convert its color, it can change. And it's not chameleon. You can walk in front of it, it'll still stay the same. Put the screen right there, I can walk around it, it's still going to be blue, it's not going to change. But I choose not to. I choose to sell my technology to my customers and keep it at an affordable price. Because if Screen Innovation or one of these big companies got a hold of this technology, this stuff wouldn't be costing you what we charge you. This stuff would cost you thousands and thousands of dollars. They would take this stuff and they would coat this onto a high-end screen and give it some fancy label and some name and do a bunch of commercials behind it. It's going to cost you like $10,000, $12,000. That's what they would do. Me, on the other hand, I develop this stuff. I make it so everybody can afford it. So that's why the hobbyists don't like me, because I work hard. I do the tests, I don't cut corners, and the big companies don't like me because I take the very same technology that they're charging people all this money for, and I charge it for less. See? That's why I fit at in this world. And at the end of the day, I don't care who hates me, because at the end of the day, all my technology comes from God, so big deal, take it up with him. And I have been yet to meet a man that can take on God. So good luck with that one. Good luck with that one. You're not going to get too far. Make it out the driveway. I'll show you it's not chameleon. Now, have you ever seen a chameleon paint job before in a car? You could stand off from a distance and you could walk around that car and it would change colors on you. It'd change from purple, it'll change to black, it'll change constantly. The screen will constantly stay the same color, no matter what. So that's not it. No chameleon paint at all, whatsoever. Because chameleon, if you get a car made with chameleon paint, it changes. I've seen that from a distance. You decide it's purple, then it's blue, and it's green. Like, what the freak? First time I saw it, I was trying to amaze from it. Nope, stay the same color. But if you stick it in front of a projector, they react dark. And they can do it in a fully lit environment with no problem. Now, some people may say, well, you got a 5,000 lumen projector. 5,000 lumens does not increase the contrast level. It actually increases the white level and the colors on the screen. When you have lumens, it has nothing to do with the contrast on the screen. It has something to do with the brighter white levels, brighter colors. That's what that actually affects. The contrast ratio on your projector basically controls, and how much ambient light you have in the environment basically controls your contrast. The more light you have in the environment, the faster your contrast levels will start to drop. Panasonic 4K demonstration. We're dry already. No point playing this anymore. I don't want to hear me screaming over the camera and trying to yell at you saying, like, what? Yes, what? Yeah. And mind you, my projector behind me we're using has a 4,000 to 1 contrast ratio, so it's not the projector either. So that's why I like to use the older models. And there you go, people. I had to see it on a larger image because we did it at 50 inches. And even though 50 inches is a good test screen, I need it on a much bigger size, because sometimes the image being too small could be interfering too, because I could be compressing those pixels tighter together, give you a more sharper, more sharper image, or brighter image. So that way, when you're doing it on a bigger screen, you got a distance back. You know, those pixels have to expand a little bit, get a little stress on them, and that way you can see if it can still maintain that image on that huge size. So, you know, that larger size. So I'll stand back here a minute so you can see my projector sitting from the screen. We're always at 14 to 15 feet from the screen, and always with plenty of light in the environment. Let's bring out the Lux reader, because let's see what we got. Because early in the morning, like I said, it changes in here. So it's not going to be the same in here as it's going to be this afternoon. And it's not going to be the same in here as after it's nighttime. The light's going to change in here, which we'll do a demonstration on that also. Whew, and I still have the other screen to build. Outside, do that. Because I have an outer box that I'm ordering, and the outer box I'm going to put the projector on outside. So we're going to be doing some demonstrations on that screen in the rain. We're going to do some demonstrations in the snow. We're going to do some in all weather, because I want to do some weather demonstrations too on the technology. All right, so we'll set our meter right here. Let me come over here and show you. So this is what we're kicking right now in the environment. 408. Oh, real quick. Stand in front of the screen real quick. There you go. Isn't that cool? God's amazing. God has. People got to learn to put their trust in God to do. Don't put your trust in yourself. Put your trust in God. You know, God's knowledge is amazing. It's absolutely amazing. Sometimes I just sit there and I look at the smallest things, like the bumblebee. I'll be out in my backyard, the blades of grass moving back and forth. And you pull a blade of grass, you know how the detail and design and molecular structure of a blade of grass, and you got an amazing Lord who designed all of this. I don't believe in the Big Bang Theory. I'm sorry, just don't. I don't believe something exploded and there it became what it is. If that was the case, you would hear explosions going off all day long in the woods, because every 5 minutes something would be generating. Boom, boom, boom. No. Basically, someone had to think of it, design it, and make it. And so if people understand it, when they said that man is made in the image of God. So if you want to design something, you got to think about it first. You got to think about it. You got to design it. You got to build it. You don't just basically just explode in front of you like, yeah, I want a 35-inch TV coming out. So boom, got a TV down there waiting for you. No, somebody had to think it, make it, and design it. Okay, let's go. Where the freak is the whatchamacallit at? Nowhere to be found. We want to get more contrast levels. So yeah, somebody had to think it, somebody had to design it, somebody had to build it. You know what I mean? We do this all the time. Even when you're making a paper airplane, anything you design or making in a day, you have to think about, I'm gonna make this insane. So I don't believe everything was exploded and then came into existence. That doesn't make any sense at all. Oh, but we evolved. How do you evolve? So how come we're not evolving? Means constant change. So how is it something that basically evolves, but it stops evolving and it just stays that way for the next couple of centuries? It just stays that way. A dog saw a dog, a cat saw a cat. I don't get that nonsense. Evolving means constant changing. Metamorphic means constant changing, constantly changing. But to each his own. Everybody got their own beliefs, you know what I mean? But that's what I believe in. I believe in God created everything on the earth. I bump into people say, what about Noah's Ark? What about, how did you fit all those animals in there? So you have to understand, we are not God, and God is not us. We are given a certain amount of knowledge, and that is it. When you die and you go see his face, and if you make it to heaven, he will explain it to you. But man is only meant to know certain things. That's it. We shouldn't have a lot of knowledge. We're dangerous. We are very dangerous people. Think about it. Everything we design eventually turns into a weapon somewhere along the line. Nuclear energy was never developed to be a weapon. It was developed to be another source of energy that eventually turned into a massive bomb that could level an entire city. See? Be careful how much knowledge you give man. Man will destroy himself. You look at people talk about the ozone layer and how it's destroyed now. The ozone layer was wrecked a long time ago. A long time ago, when you had the industrial age, when you had all the factories and fossil fuels and where's that steam locomotive? We had I forgot it. When everything was running off coal and fossil fuel and stuff like that, that was destroyed a long time ago. And we just right now, what we have right now is just pretty much the straw that broke the camel's back. That's where we're at right now. But we pretty much wrecked that a long time ago. Right? People understand. If you study, like I'm a history buff, you study the industrial age, when man started basically getting involved with machinery around that time, and they got everything was running factories. You get tons and tons of factories that were burning constant fuel, charcoal fuel, and you get trains and boats and everything. Yeah, we kind of wrecked that a long time ago. This is just right now. I call it the straw that broke the camel's back. So whatever we do now is just pretty much the, we already bought it there. So what am I talking about? I missed the batteries. Yeah. But that's it, And then we got into nuclear power. That's another thing, another nightmare, stuff like that. So, yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised in the ocean if you got something down there that 60-foot sharks now. And you look at sharks now, sharks are big now. You got sharks, you got a shark out there called Big Blue. Big Blue is 25 feet long. It's an actual shark. No, Deep Blue. Look it up. It's a real actual shark. 25 feet long. Female shark. And it's pregnant. So the female sharks, the females are always bigger. But 25 feet. That's a big freaking shark. And then they found a shark somewhere deep in the ocean. Excuse my French saying the story. They call it a demon shark. It's a black shark that they found there, 59 feet long. But think about it. All the chemicals and stuff that we dump in the ocean constantly, all the time, all the freaking leakage. Who knows in a nuclear reactor what's leaking into the ocean? Eventually, something's going to evolve into something or change into something nasty. And then you're going to be down there swimming around there one day and you can bump into it like, what the freak? Yeah. Mm-hmm. And on top of that, consider the fact that the ocean is unexplored. We want to explore space, but the ocean's unexplored. There are living creatures all over. Anywhere you name on the planet, there's something living. You could be in the middle of the desert, and there's some kind of microorganism living in the sand somewhere. There's life everywhere on the planet. So why wouldn't there be life deep down in the ocean? And that's where you get giant squids or have beaks and all this other crazy stuff. Yeah, all that stuff exists. Just haven't bumped into it yet. I remember they had a fish called a coelacanth. And they show them now. A coelacanth was a fish they found off coast of Mexico. And this fish had 5 fins and could swim backwards. It was called a coelacanth, about the size of a love seat. Weirdest thing you ever seen. You see them now, they got these huge giant lips and they're rather weird looking. Yeah, but it was called a coelacanth. And it was supposed to be a prehistoric fish that was supposed to be extinct, but it wasn't. They just haven't found it. That's the interesting thing I find about the ocean. You only know about the things that you found. What about the other stuff that you haven't found yet? That's the stuff I don't want to bump into. Whew. All right, we got pretty colors coming up. This is real nice. So this is nice, but I'm concerned more about the contrast levels because we need to get that cracking Jackson. And my screen needs to be pulled down a little bit too. I know it's a little bit off on the keystone. I didn't know how much we're off on the keystone. Let's see. Kraken Jackson. Kraken Jackson. I don't know where I got that from. Kraken Jackson. It looks nice. This would be nice if you lived out there and you had a tin roof, and a roof can hear the raindrops drop off. That'd be really relaxing. I got friends over in DR. Some of them still have houses with tin roofs. You can hear the rain bouncing off the roof. I know it's going to be so relaxing. Let's go switch to this one. Now, one thing I may have to change on my projector. I'm dropping my brightness a little bit because I'm gonna see if we bring our brightness down. We're at 28 on our brightness right now. My projector is at 28 and it's in eco mode. I'll show you something really quick before we start this real quick. So we got everything off in the house, right? Now it's a 5,000 lumen projector. It should go. It's how quiet it is. This is on eco mode 5. This is in the highest eco mode. So my projector sits in eco mode the entire time because the screens generate too much light. I think you're just hearing in the background my air machine. There we go. So now we got complete quietness in the house. All you hear is, now this is the projector. That's it. Because I have an eco mode 5. Because if I turn this thing up, this thing goes to 100. How bright this projector gets. So I'm going to come over here into my menu. And let's go over to my settings in here. And let me see, we need to go to my adjustments right there. There is my brightness on my projector right here at 28. There's my settings right there. My projector at 28. So I need to bring this over and I need to go over to my brightness. I need to go lower than that. Let's see, we're going to go to 20. We use 20 instead. There we go. I know. It's funny. You know, it's interesting. When you're with the Lord, you hear things in your head. And some said in my head, oh, they're probably saying you should turn it down. If you turn it down, then you're probably advancing your contrast levels. Which one you want, people? I mean, come on. You know, if I turn it down, I'm not advancing the contrast level. It's a 5,000 lumen projector. You know how powerful that thing is behind me right now? So, no. If I put it at 28, we did the video already at 28, and we did it with contrast levels. So if I start the video off first with no contrast level test and just put it down to 20, then you can question that. But we already did that already. So let's bring it down to 28 to 20, because I want to see exactly where we can go with this. I'll tell you something. If I could get a palette of these projectors behind me, I would get them and market them off as, because this projector is beautiful. I mean, it's absolutely beautiful. I love it with the screen paint. I love it. I love this projector. I want to get another one. There's a laser version of this. Like I said, I had a bad incident with a laser one time, so not too happy. But they do make a 7,000 lumen version, which I'm curious to see what it's like on 7,000 lumens. Let's go back and check the meter real quick before we hit this. So you kind of keep going back to the meter, because the meter constantly changes. Like I said, light constantly changes in the environment. But in this house, we're never going to hit under, maybe we got it on that right there. All right, so let's get started, because I still got work to do. All right, let me, this sound is what's right here? Here we go. Let me get cleaned up a little better over here. Where's the stand at? My stand's way in that room. Let me just bring that over here. Let me break it down for you. Excuse me. See? Let's see what key cut it has. We haven't done it in a while. Oh, turns out we did this one last night. Like I said, it's amazing because we went from that right there, that light blue, to this nice dark. So with this technology, like I said, we'll be able to produce amazing high white levels because the screen is designed, the lighter screens can bring in a higher white level, but also too, because of the technology involved in it, it can see contrast.
That Starbucks coffee feeling made ready.
Hold on. So I was able to maintain its colors, so colors don't wash out, don't fade. Oh, forgot about that. Hold on a minute. Now this screen is much darker than my screen, as you can see. Much darker than my screen. Look at the color versus that screen. See how dark this screen is to that one? Hey! So this should be an interesting demonstration. White screen. Let's see what the contrast is at, because this screen's darker than my screen. Mine is the darkest screen. My screen's lighter than the screen. Let's see what happens. Starfield screensaver. Excited? I'm very excited right
I
now.
found a few skills that
You
might
know
help
where
you
it's at.
with anything.
No. Just forget it. I can see you're in your moody attitude today. Yes, I argue with this thing. I don't know how in the world you cannot get a Starfield demonstration. I ask for Starfield demonstration just about every single day. Let's try this one again. Starfield screensaver.
Getting that from YouTube.
There we go. Thank you. So let's see.
Your purchase could be free.
Ah,
If you use
come
your
on.
credit
Enough
card
with the
or
commercials.
Visa
Get to
card,
it.
free groceries, free gas.
There we go, ladies and gentlemen. We have achieved it. We got one. So, what this means is this screen, I'm gonna butcher the name like on this, I'm gonna butcher it. Parallax or 8.0. This screen is darker than my screen. It's darker by my screen by far. As I showed you, next to them side by side, the screen is darker. But the technology that we have embedded in this new screen paint we have here can produce high white levels. Like I said, probably a little better than the screen we have here, which we don't know yet. We can't say until we get those tests done first. But as you can see, as in contrast wise, that screen being darker than my screen is producing the heavier and darker levels. And my screen is able to produce some form of ambient light, not ambient light, more of a contrast, a shifting technology. Told you, God is amazing. God gives you, he's amazing. Tell me he's not amazing. Tell me he's not amazing. Look at that. And that's a dark gunmetal screen. That screen is darker than my screen. So we produce slightly better. I say our color level is slightly better, but our contrast level, and that's what the screen is designed for, it's going to give you those bright vivid colors regardless because it's a lighter product, but it gives you the contrast levels. And the fact that it's showing and displaying a contrast level darker than a screen that's literally darker than my physical screen is quite incredible. This is absolutely amazing. Panasonic. Oh, better yet. Cancel. Sony contrast demonstration. I want to see this.
Getting that from YouTube.
This has nothing to do with him. It's the contrast, a dark contrast. I need this for testing. They have one darker than this, but I can't figure exactly where I would get that one from. Oh, they're cutting the grass today. Contrast demonstration, Sony.
Getting that from YouTube.
There we go. Now mind you, usually when this individual does his test or whatever, he mixes that black product in there. We can pull a screen paint out right now. I can lay it against this technology if I wanted to right now. But you get no credibility out of it. See what I mean? No one's considered to go, oh, so. No. A $5,000 projection screen that's a dark gunmetal laying against this technology. And basically, as you can see, that screen's way darker than my screen, but yet my screen can pull a heavier contrast level. That's more credibility we would get off this technology because it's against a certified. But I just can't believe we got this we got this light screen producing the contrast levels better than a screen that's darker than my screen. And we're doing this in a fully lit environment with our meter is now coming in at, like I said, as the sun starts to peak in here, we're up early. That meter's going to fluctuate. There we go. Keep those tests. So keep that on record. See that black level on that? Okay, we're done tests here, people. I hope you enjoyed the video demonstration. I can thank you all for your time. I can't give you any information when this is going to be available. We do know that we're not going to make it outside. I mean, it's weatherproof, yes, but it's not. We advise to have to use much darker screens outside, even though the screen can mimic that contrast level extremely well. We're just going to market it for inside only. As for the lumen counts and all the other information, all that, we can't give you anything until we finish all testing. So this might be on the back burner for at least about 3 days, because I have some other projects that need to get taken care of first. Just came out of nowhere. We still have that invisible technology we still work through. I still got to build the deck out, screens around the house for demo, and I got customers I got to take care of. So hope you enjoyed the video demonstration, but it will be out soon. Later on, we'll start talking about the professional Phoenix. Professional Phoenix are spray-on applications. Those of you that are handy with the paint sprayer, and you are, like I said, if you're good with a paint sprayer and you're good at your craft, I mean, if you want to not, it's easy to use. It is. Some people are very intimidated by paint sprayer. So if you're intimidated by a paint sprayer and you figure you're going to jack it up, then I wouldn't go near it at all, period. If you're good with a paint sprayer, have a ball with it. But we're going to make a spray-on version of it very soon. So like I said, we have a couple of them downstairs, but they have to be tested first. All right. Again, thank you for your time. I have to go, and God bless. Next time I should be back on. Hopefully we will have the screen in the kitchen mounted outside, and we can do some demonstrations off that today. All right. Got to go.